Most actors struggle to pay rent. Tempted by the prospect of fortune and fame, thespians risk it all for a chance to bask in the limelight. But others manage to secure steady work by landing a role as a series regular on a popular TV show. When this happens, their salaries skyrocket to astronomical heights. Today, we're looking at the highest paid TV actors of all time. Running for 8 seasons, Game of Thrones proved to be the most popular show in HBO history. The final season averaged almost 12 million viewers per episode, setting a record for viewership on a paid television channel. The show also garnered 161 Emmy nominations, shattering previous records. Experts estimate that Game of Thrones earned about $3.1 billion for HBO, meaning that they had plenty of money to spend on the show's budget. But how much went to the cast? It turns out the core cast, including Emilia Clarke, Lena Headey, Peter Dinklage, Nikolai Coster-Waldau, Sophie Turner, and Kit Harington each earned $500,000 per episode in the final season of Game of Thrones. However, Coster-Waldau and likely the other 4 main stars could be making even more than that. 2018 legal documents in a court battle between Coster-Waldau and his former manager revealed that he would be making $1.07 million per episode for at least 6 episodes of the final season. These details were only released in court proceedings and have not been confirmed by the cast members themselves. The rest of the cast didn't have contracts that were as lucrative, likely earning closer to $125,000 per episode. Sex and the City was a cultural phenomenon when it came out in 1998. Running for 6 years and 94 episodes, it proved to be a massive hit for HBO. Not only did it gross more than $1 billion, the show was spun off into 2 movies and a prequel series, and the executives at HBO were able to secure a number of lucrative endorsement deals. The studio had tie-in deals with 8 marketers, including Vitamin Water, Mercedes-Benz, and Sky Vodka, whose products are mentioned by the actors or appear in the film. Bag designer Judith Lieber created a jeweled cupcake purse for Charlotte's daughter. Vivienne Westwood designed Carrie's wedding dress, and Fred Leighton made her jewelry. But with all this product placement and monetization, how much actually trickled down to the actors? In the case of series lead Sarah Jessica Parker, the show earned her $1,326,000 in the final seasons, adjusted to current value. In addition, Parker was a producer in the final seasons, raising her overall salary to $3.2 million per episode. But for the sake of this list, she is still only the 9th highest paid actor in TV history. The Big Bang Theory ran from 2007 until 2019, quickly becoming one of the most popular and highest-grossing sitcoms in history. The show centers around a group of geeks as they struggle to navigate simple social situations in Pasadena, California. Despite mixed critical reviews, 7 seasons of the show have ranked within the top 10 of the final television season ratings, ultimately reaching the #1 spot in its 11th season. The show was nominated for the Emmy Award for Outstanding Comedy Series from 2011 to 2014, and won the Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Comedy Series 4 times for Jim Parsons. It has so far won 7 Emmy Awards from 46 nominations. The core cast, including Kaylee Cuoco, Johnny Galecki, Simon Helberg, Kunal Nayyar, and Jim Parsons, earned an unbelievable $1,187,139 per episode, meaning that they pulled in more than $24 million a season, plus continued checks from syndication. In the final season, the core cast members opted to take a $100,000 pay cut in order to beef up the paychecks of co-stars Mayim Bialik and Melissa Roch. This was a selfless gesture, but also feels like a drop in the bucket compared to their massive salaries. Friends is one of the most iconic sitcoms in television history. Running for 10 seasons and an unimaginable 236 episodes, the NBC-produced show changed the landscape of television forever. All 10 seasons of Friends ranked within the top 10 of the final television season ratings. It ultimately reached the #1 spot in its 8th season. The series finale aired on May 6, 2004, and was watched by around 52.5 million American viewers, making it the 5th most-watched series finale in television history, and the most-watched television episode of the 2000s decade. Needless to say, the show was incredibly profitable, and the core cast reaped the benefits. After years of arbitration with Warner Brothers, the core cast of Friends finally won a contract worth $1,890,978 per episode. And that was just the beginning for these actors, who managed to earn themselves a hefty chunk of the back end. This is extremely uncommon for actors on a hit sitcom, but in 2000, the cast renegotiated syndication and landed on a percentage that would make them millions for years to come. Friends is a veritable cash cow, and Warner Brothers has been milking it for every penny of licensing, syndication, and merchandise. Allegedly, they still make upwards of $1 billion a year for this intellectual property, meaning that the core cast still earn about $20 million in a good year. Mad About You has made headlines recently as producers draw ever closer to a reunion show, but the lead actors likely don't need the paycheck. Unlike previous shows on this list, Mad About You did not rely on an ensemble cast. Rather, the whole story centered on newlyweds Paul Buckman, a documentary filmmaker, and Jamie Stemple Buckman, a public relations specialist, as they deal with everything from humorous daily minutiae to major struggles. Though the show had a shaky start, it skyrocketed in the ratings and eventually became one of the most popular shows of the 90s. The creators decided that the show would end after the couple had their first child, but when the time came, the network was adamant that they continue to produce the highly lucrative program. In the end, the show's leading couple was making $1,967,462 per episode. They found the paychecks hard to turn down and continued the show for 2 seasons after the intended conclusion. With a total of 164 episodes, Reiser and Hunt are extremely well off. Some wonder why they agreed to do a comeback season when they're already so rich, but of course we could all use a little cushion going into retirement. Jerry Seinfeld is the richest actor in the world by most estimates, with a net worth just under $1 billion. He and Larry David co-created Seinfeld, one of the most popular and culturally influential shows in history. The show's final season averaged almost 40 million viewers per episode, making it by far one of the most watched shows in history. The series finale had a jaw-dropping 76.3 million viewers, almost a quarter of the US population at the time. Obviously, NBC was paying a prodigious amount to secure Seinfeld's core actors for each season. When adjusted for inflation, Jerry Seinfeld was pulling in $2,364,862 per episode, and the rest of the cast was making $600,000 per episode. After this, Seinfeld decided that he would quit while he was ahead. Audiences in the studio alike were ravenous for more content, but he refused. NBC counteroffered with an unbelievable $5 million per episode, totaling $100 million for the season. But again, Seinfeld refused. In interviews, he still maintains that he made the right decision, and given that he is the wealthiest actor alive, it's hard to argue with him. As creator of the show, he still gets a check every time the show is aired on television. Home Improvement was one of the most watched sitcoms in the United States, winning many awards. The series launched Tim Allen's acting career and was the start of the television career of Pamela Anderson, who was part of the recurring cast for the first 2 seasons. During its 8-season run, the show always finished in the top 10 in the Nielsen ratings during a season, despite never making the #1 slot. The series finale became the 5th highest-rated series finale television program of the 1990s, and the 9th overall series finale ever presented on a single network in television history, watched by 35.5% of the households sampled in America and 21.6% of television viewers. By the final season, Tim Allen was earning an adjusted $2,550,859 per episode. He was offered an unbelievable $50 million to star in a 9th season, but walked away, thus dooming the show to cancellation. The 66-year-old comedian still performs stand-up regularly and has a successful career in film, starring in movies such as Galaxy Quest, Big Trouble, Christmas with the Cranks, The Shaggy Dog, and Wild Hogs. In addition, he returned to the sitcom spotlight to star in Last Man Standing, for which he is allegedly making $235,000 per episode. This is less than a tenth of what he was making in his heyday, but again, a little bit helps when you're headed toward retirement. Charlie Sheen was born into show business. Born Carlos Estevez, he is the son of Martin Sheen and brother of Emilio Estevez. Both are huge stars in their own right, and Charlie Sheen was a natural in the industry. Sheen scored leading roles in Platoon, Wall Street, Young Guns, 8 Men Out, Hot Shots, and 2.5 Men. The latter made him the highest-paid star in television history, without adjustment for inflation. He earned $1.8 million per episode in the show's final season, and would have made more if it weren't for an unfortunate public meltdown that led to his removal from the show's roster. Sheen publicly made derogatory comments about the series creator, Chuck Lorre, and Warner Brothers banned Sheen from entering its production lot. Sheen, already the highest-paid actor on television, responded by publicly demanding a 50% raise, claiming that in comparison to the amount that the series was making, he was underpaid. The subsequent years have been rocky for Sheen, but he managed to find recurring work on the show Anger Management for 2 years in order to shore up his finances. For 9 critically acclaimed and highly watched seasons, Everybody Loves Raymond was one of the most successful and most beloved sitcoms on television, chronicling the lives of the larger-than-life Barone family, and including talented actors like Ray Romano, Brad Garrett, Doris Roberts, and Peter Boyle in its truly stacked cast. The series has stood the test of time as one of the best sitcoms of all time. For the last 6 seasons, Everybody Loves Raymond was consistently earning 11 million viewers per episode. Though it wasn't breaking any records, the television industry rewards this kind of consistency. consistency, and Ray Romano earned an adjusted $3,034,316 per episode, making him the second highest paid TV actor in history. In the subsequent years, Romano has opted for lower-paying creative endeavors, like a major role in 2017's breakout comedy The Big Sick and the comedy drama series Get Shorty. With an estimated net worth of $130 million, it's no wonder that he doesn't need to chase a paycheck. In addition to his work on Everybody Loves Raymond, Romano bolstered his earnings with a recurring role in the lucrative Ice Age movie franchise. The sitcom Frasier was a spin-off of Cheers. Riding high on the success of the latter, Frasier was an instant hit. With 11 seasons and 264 episodes, it was one of the longest-running sitcoms in history. And because series lead Kelsey Grammer was already an established star, he could demand a serious sum of money from the beginning. When adjusted for inflation, Grammer was pulling in a handsome $3,099,170 per episode. That puts him tens of thousands higher than the next actor on the list. And because the show ran for so long, he accrued an impressive net worth of more than $60 million. However, like many of the other stars on this list, Grammer is considering a return to his eponymous role as the star of Frasier.